This is Renee Romeo. The project of the day is learning how to hang wall cabinets. Now I have some cheap wall cabinets that I bought at a big box store. I'm going to go ahead and install 2 of them over the sink in the garage, and I'll show you just how easy that is. You really don't need all that many tools. As we go along, I'll let you know what you need, and you can complete this project really quickly and organize this space so much better just by having wall cabinets. First things first, if you have existing cabinets that you're replacing, the way that they're attached to the wall currently is you'll have to open the door and you'll have to look inside. And usually what winds up happening is that they'll install screws through the back side to the stud in the wall. And you need to remove all of those screws. Sometimes you might even have a screw coming in from the side going into the side wall. So double check that and make sure that you have all your screws removed. The screws that go through the side would be through this side panel here, directly in the frame. So go ahead and remove all that and pull the cabinet off the wall, and then I'll show you how to prep for the new one. Once your cabinet is off the wall, or if you're starting out with a fresh wall, you need to go ahead and locate your studs. And these are the things that you're going to put screws in through the cabinet and into the wall, and that's going to attach your cabinet to the wall. So you need this to be really secure. You need to find the studs. And I know that there's going to be one in the corner, so that's already marked. Beyond that, there's another one that occurs right here. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that. And then, depending on where your builder puts the studs, either 16 inches, like there's another one, or 24, there's another one. So I have this all marked, and I can go ahead on my cabinet and make marks on my cabinet, so that way I know exactly where everything is and I know where the screws need to go. So from this point, once I have my marks, I'm going to take my level and I'm going to put it right up on top of these marks, and I'm going to go ahead and make a line. Once you have your marks on the wall, exactly where your studs are, you're going to grab a scrap piece of 2x4, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to lay this just underneath whatever line you're going to make for the bottom of your cabinet. Now normally, cabinets sit 18 inches above the countertop. That's just a standard height. But since I have a sink here, it's going to be a little bit higher. So what I've got here, I've got 22.5, and that's what we're going to go with. And the reason why you do that is because if you're washing something in a sink, you don't want to bump your head on the edge of the cabinet that's hanging on the wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this scrap piece, line it up with my level line that I've made at that height. Whatever height you want for your bottom cabinet, go ahead and line that up. Then I'm going to go ahead and mark my 2x4 on 2 or 3 different places where it meets the stud. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'll drill holes through the 2x4 so that I can put a screw through this and have an actual setting space for the cabinet while I go ahead and hang it. And that way it's not going to fall or move around. It'll stay nice and level and it'll be super safe. So just like this, I'm using 4-inch screws to attach this 2x4 to the wall, and the reason why they're so long is because the screw has to go through the 2x4, through a 1/2 inch of drywall, and then actually secure into that wall stud nice and tight so that this isn't going to move around. So you really need something that's like 4 inches long is the right length for this. So I'll go ahead, I'll put these through my pre-drilled holes and line it up with my mark and go ahead and attach it to the wall. I'm going to pre-drill inside this cabinet over to the very first stud that I need to attach to the wall. That measurement is 3 5/8, but I wanted to do a close-up here on this little piece that sticks out. If I simply measured over from the back corner 3 5/8, I would be off from the center of that stud in the wall. So I need to add on this extra, let's see what this is, 1/8 of an inch, no, it's actually 3/16 of an inch that I need to add on to this so that I'm hitting directly in the center of that stud through the back. Okay, so I know the measurement is 3 5/8. I have 3/16 of an inch. I need to set my end of the tape measure 3/16 of an inch over. So my mark here is 3 5/8. That's where my 3 5/8 falls. But if I move that to the inside of the cabinet, I have to subtract for this piece of wood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this inside this little cabinet area here. And what this winds up being is 2 7/8 of an inch when I reach this mark. So that's what my mark on the inside of the cabinet needs to be, 2 7/8. And I followed that same principle, 2 7/8 along the bottom. And then I've taken the next stud over and I've made my mark for that, which is right here. So now I have 4 separate spots where I can put nice long screws through there. This is particle board in the back, so I do need to make sure that I do this from the inside of the cabinet. It'll give it a little bit more stability because this isn't quite as strong as a plywood or even a solid wood backing. So we're just gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll pre-drill. Now I'm using 2 3/4 inch screws here, and the way that I choose whatever drill bit I'm going to use, I need to go ahead and line that up with the drill bit and make sure that I can see the drill bit is going to be the exact same size as the shank of the screw. And you'll also notice the type of screw that I'm using. It's a large head screw. You need that for stability. I think I'm still going to put a washer around it just to make sure that this backing is held nice and tight to the wall. So go ahead and use this type of screw to attach cabinets to the wall. Okay, my dad is helping hold it. You really do need a helper for this. It's not a one-person job. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-drill into the drywall and into the stud. So I've got the screw all set up, go right through to the stud. So for our next stud in the wall, we need to measure over from the previous cabinet, and that is going to be at 2.5. Now we can't go to the next one because the cabinet is only 18 inches wide and this is more like 22. So what we're going to do here is just put a screw at the top, a screw at the bottom, and then 2 screws into the previous cabinet through the side front piece, so it's just 3/4 inch oak at this point, so it'll be nice and sturdy. This cabinet isn't going to hold a lot of heavy weight, and if it were, then we would need to put some wall screws in here as toggles so that it holds to the back of the drywall. But in our case, it's not going to hold that much weight, so we're just going to go ahead and use the 4 screws, 2 of which are going into the previous cabinet. Okay, so my first mark is at 2.5, and remember you've got 3/16 of an inch for this measurement right here. Ooh, actually this one's more like a quarter, it's 1/4 of an inch. So set this 1/4 of an inch in from the end, and then you're going to mark at 2.5, which is right here. Then you need to set this inside the corner, and this is 1 3/4. So my measurement on the inside of the cabinet is going to be 1 3/4 from the edge. And again, use the same kind of screw as you did for the previous cabinet. And then again, same screw that you used to go through the back, you're going to use the same screw to go through the side. And really make sure that you have this aligned properly before you go ahead. Okay, it's secured along the back, both top and bottom. And then I'm just going to pre-drill in this 3/4 inch oak directly through to the other cabinet. Now you want to make sure that you're holding this nice and level. All right, super strong, not going anywhere. when spring rolls around, I'll be able to paint these black to match the other cabinets in the garage. Now with this cabinet, you need to make sure that you push it not only back toward the wall, but over toward the other cabinet before you drill. So let's just go ahead and open the door. And you hold the bottom, I'll hold the top. I have my pre-drilled holes through the back, and I'm just going to drill into the stud. Well, it's a far cry from what it looked like when I started out, and everything is so nice and organized. I have all of my gardening equipment ready to go at a moment's notice. I can visually see it, nice and clean. In the spring, I'll go ahead and paint it, but it was just that easy. It didn't take very long at all. Sometimes, however, a little tip is that your stud finder may not be 100% accurate. So maybe what you want to do is once you find a stud with the stud finder, take a hammer and a nail and just verify that there really is a stud behind it. You know, the technology isn't there yet, I don't think. Well, it's summertime, so it's taken a little bit longer to finish this project than anticipated, but that's life. So I've got everything painted. I have my handles put on here. They're very utilitarian for the garage. And I'm going ahead and I'm putting on these little sticky tabs. So the little sticky tabs are little bumpers that you're going to be putting on every single corner of your cabinets. And this is just to help it not slam and ruin the finish underneath. And you're going to do the exact same thing if you are hanging cabinets that you've painted. So I've gone ahead and we've installed a countertop that's granite that actually we cut ourselves, which is very easy to do as well, believe it or not. And the next project is like a backsplash for the back here, so stay tuned for that. And if you're wondering how to either put knobs on cabinets or paint cabinets with a beautiful finish, check out my other sites and see exactly how to do that because they're posted on the site. So this is Renee Romeo. Thank you so much for watching this incredible makeover project for our garage, which totally neatens everything up. Please do it in your house too.